Right now on KGW, recognizing all forms of greatness in our communities.
If you can impact the individuals, that impacts families, that then impacts community.
Because decades after Self-Enhancement Inc. opened its doors, it's still making a difference. Plus,
Bend, Oregon and Central Oregon is a wonderful place.
How two visionaries turned a lumber company into so much more.
Recognized that whether we wanted to admit it or not, that the timber company was really a real estate company with that amount of land.
And we sit down with two philanthropists with a passion for art and helping others.
We're stewards of all that we've been provided, and I take that part very seriously.
Because as my mother used to say, this is our village. This is our home.
KGW Special featuring the 2025 Oregon History Makers starts right now. You are looking at the Mark Building on Portland's historic park blocks, where hundreds of people are arriving for a ceremony that honors Oregon's very best. Thanks for joining us. I'm David Molko, as we gather in partnership with our friends at the Oregon Historical Society to recognize this year's Oregon History Makers, highlighting the people who are positively impacting the history, the culture, and the landscape of this great state. And this year, we're toasting to a handful of folks who you might say have helped collectively build community. Christine Pitawanich kicks us off.
So we're actually in the Center for Self-Enhancement that most recently my name got added to it. So it's actually the Tony Hopson Sr. Center for Self-Enhancement.
Tony Hopson is passion personified.
There's not many places like this anywhere in our nation where African Americans have had the resources to build a facility that they have the keys to.
More than 40 years ago, back in 1981, he founded Self-Enhancement Inc., or SEI.
I'm a past athlete, played a lot of basketball, so we started this when it first founded was the SEI basketball camps. I mean, you can transfer some of the skills in sports into other career fields and into life itself. So we started with that, and when we had some gang issues in the mid-'80s.
The idea started with sports and gave kids alternatives to the gang lifestyle. Hopson says SEI, now headquartered in North Portland, offers 400 different services. And year to date, the nonprofit says it's served more than 100,000 young people and families, leaning into a holistic approach, helping with food, shelter, whatever's needed.
Yeah, in fact, we have literally paid for college. If you can impact the individuals, that impacts families, that then impacts community.
And Hopson says what they've done to support community has worked. According to the nonprofit, 98% of SEI youth graduate from high school. In fact, in 2011 at Jefferson High, Hopson says they went all in.
And moved them from a 53% graduation rate to a 93% graduation rate. That's moving from making a difference with a few kids to making the difference for the entire school.
Adding to his legacy, his efforts to rebuild Portland's Black community, pushed out by gentrification in the Albina neighborhood.
Anywhere from 20 to 40,000 African Americans that lived in the Albina area that are no longer here.
That's why Phil Knight's historic pledge to invest $400 million to support Black Portlanders in the neighborhood is so important.
I actually made the original ask to Phil Knight.
Hopson says Knight had supported SEI before. Then, after George Floyd's murder in 2020, Knight called Hopson, and that's when the conversation really took off.
I took the opportunity to say to him, you know, Nike's doing some great stuff, but would you be willing to look at something personally for the Albina community? And he said, you know, send me something. So from that ask, it took 3 years of a process that we went through for him finally to say yes. I believe is the largest private gift ever given to an African American community in the history of this nation.
At SEI, Hopson is aware of the many lives he and the nonprofit have touched.
Would you have ever expected that this would have become what it is?
You know, it certainly wasn't my goal. You know, growing up in Portland and having a community that supported me as a as a youngster and as a young athlete, it was always my goal to somehow give back and impact the same community that supported me. But no, I can't say that I ever dreamed up what SEI is today.
And as he transitions away from the helm at SEI, he looks back at the kids he's helped, the families, all a part of his legacy.
It is my most proudest moment. And as I say, when I think about a legacy, that would be my legacy, that we have planted literally thousands and thousands of seeds that are now bearing fruit all over the planet. And there could be no greater and satisfying legacy for me than that.
Tony Hopson, Oregon History Maker of the Year.
Decades of work and so much more, which is true of all our honorees. Catherine Cook takes us to meet a steward of fine foods, performing arts, and much more.
For Pat Reser,
Well, this is one of my favorite rooms and spaces in our home.
the world is a canvas
This is my favorite apron.
full of possibilities.
Taking an idea, making it your own, putting in your own colors, and standing back and saying, yes, that's good.
Good.
Yeah.
Like a home-cooked meal, maybe with a little help from Reser's Fine Foods.
Twice baked potatoes are so good. And they are so much easier than making them from scratch yourself.
The humble potato is a big part of Pat's story. One that includes a $2 billion a year family business and a family foundation as synonymous with philanthropy and community as it is pantry staples. You'll find Pat's generous fingerprints all over the Northwest, from the Patricia Reser Center for the Arts in Beaverton.
I kind of think of the PRCA as the family room of Beaverton.
To countless buildings and, of course, the football stadium at her alma mater, Oregon State University. They are the marks of a true Oregon history maker.
So yeah, just a quick casual question. What do you want your legacy to be?
Casual, yeah, right.
We'll come back to that one. For now, more on the humble potato. The year was 1950. Pat's late husband, Al Reser, was just a kid when his family moved to Oregon. They rented a farmhouse in Cornelius with a back porch. It's where Al's mom started everything.
And that's where she cooked her potatoes, got her neighbors to peel and dice, the kids in the afternoon adding the pickle or the paprika to the top, and she sold it to Safeway. And so that was the beginning.
10 years later, Pat and Al, who met and married in college, took on the family business, encouraged by Al's parents to buy them out.
We borrowed from everybody we could, and within a 2.5-week period, we became parents, graduates, and deeply in debt. And Al was now the CEO of Mrs. Reser Salads.
The Resers raised 5 children. Pat earned a master's in special ed and worked many years in Beaverton schools. Pat served as inaugural chair of the Oregon State University Board of Trustees and co-chaired OSU's first comprehensive fundraising campaign.
At some point, you come to this understanding that you are educating these young adults to solve problems that we haven't identified yet, using tools that haven't been invented yet. And that's a huge responsibility.
She's truly a leader. And
Sean Scoville is president and CEO of the Oregon State University Foundation.
my gratitude is not just for what she's done for the students in the state of Oregon, or even the economy through the investments she's made, through the arts, but it's because she's taught us all how to be better.
In 2010, Al Reser passed away. Pat's loss left a deep void and a pressing question.
Who am I? I'm no longer the boss's wife. What was my role going to be in this world now?
She found the answer through a friend at Medical Teams International, a Tigard-based nonprofit serving people around the globe.
I think the work that she's done with Medical Teams reflects who she is as a person.
Joe DiCarlo is Medical Teams Executive Director for U.S. programs. He remembers when Pat joined them in Uganda. In a crowded refugee camp, a nurse told them that many mothers had been giving birth on the floor. Joe remembers how that weighed on Pat's heart.
Gave it a lot of thought and prayer, and then came back the next day and said, I want to fund the expansion of this maternity ward as well as new beds.
For anyone who knows Pat, it's hard to imagine a world without her.
The good news is she's getting younger, so that helps all of us. She's as active now as she was when I met her 20 years ago. It's because she's still learning so much.
Which brings us back to that question.
I wanted to...
The one about Pat's legacy and how others will remember the life she's still painting.
It'll look very different when it's finished.
When that time comes, she hopes it will embody the words of Philippians 4:8.
And it goes like this: whatever is true, honorable, just, pure, lovely, commendable, excellent, praiseworthy, think on these things. And I hope my legacy is that Pat lived into those values, and her life reflected that.
And while art is in the eye of the beholder, there are some things everyone can agree on.
That, to me, is a beautiful picture of who Pat Reser is.
Still to come, a name synonymous with Portland real estate and the arts.
The key is overcoming one's obstacles, getting up each day, putting a foot forward, and doing the best you can that day to make a difference.
A look at leadership through the eyes of Jordan Schnitzer when our Oregon History Makers special continues, right here on KGW. Welcome back to this year's Oregon History Makers celebration, honoring just some of the people helping shape our state's present and its future in big ways. And that includes our next honoree, who took what his parents, trailblazers in their own right, had already begun to build and carried it even further. Stephanie Domerat shows us how.
It's been wonderful to be part of this community. Wouldn't have had it any other way.
Looking out from this Portland rooftop.
I mean, it's a beautiful city. I mean,
it's hard to find a place untouched by the Schnitzer family.
But this has been a wonderful home, and there's a quality of life here. This is by Peter Halley.
It's also hard
fabulous artist
to find an Oregonian more in love with art.
Come in my office one sec.
Than Jordan Schnitzer.
This is all the art we have.
In his office, binders upon binders hold the details of his nearly 22,000-piece collection.
So an awful lot. Well, we have 1,400 Warhols.
The one thing Jordan may love more than art?
When I see his work, it's beyond just the bull itself. It's talking about how we perceive the world around us.
Sharing it with others.
There's a statement about Roy Lichtenstein.
As the owner of one of the world's most notable art collections, Jordan's been dubbed the People's Collector.
First love was art of the region.
Because of his dedication to bringing art to audiences around the world.
And we're all artists. We all have creativity in our own lives.
You'll see him sort of weeping, literally weeping before tears of joy before a work of art. And I think that really helps other people see it through fresh eyes and realize that it's much more than just sort of like a pretty thing hanging on a wall. And that has a very, very significant impact.
But even with his global reach, his home is strongly rooted in Oregon.
Because as my mother used to say, this is our village. This is our home.
His love for his community and connection started early as he witnessed his parents, Harold and Arlene Schnitzer, make their own mark on Portland.
I look back at the complicated times, like every kid, but I think what really came through is I saw them get up every day and want to make a difference.
He watched as his father found success in the real estate business, working right alongside him.
Well, I started working at 14 as a janitor, and then I was a painter, and then I started working in the office during summers. I would also change my overalls to a suit and go with him to San Francisco or Seattle.
Meanwhile, his mother's pursuit of art planted a seed in him that grew more than he could have ever imagined.
Growing up as an only child, when I went to first grade, My mother enrolled in the Portland Art Museum Art School, now called Pacific Northwest College of Art.
Years later, Arlene would open the Fountain Gallery, a pioneering contemporary art gallery that helped shape Portland's art scene.
Remember, my mother opened that gallery. Not many women ran businesses, and there were many instances which one can imagine about those glass ceilings. She had to not be taken seriously, and she worked hard to overcome a lot of that.
That drive wasn't lost on Jordan.
The key is overcoming one's obstacles, getting up each day, putting a foot forward, and doing the best you can that day to make a difference. David Hockney.
His tenacity and ambitious spirit blossomed. He grew his family's commercial real estate business into one of the top 10 real estate companies on the West Coast. Today, Schnitzer Properties operates across 6 western states. A large portion of his real estate focuses on multi-tenant flex industrial space geared towards smaller businesses.
And what's interesting during COVID, well, lots of the big companies couldn't let all the people come to work. Virtually every one of our tenants were there every day because this is how they made their living. And if they want to put food on their table, they were there, whether they're distributing vegetables or furniture or pool supplies or lighting supplies, cameras, film. We have 3,150 tenants in that group.
Jordan's philanthropic impact extends worldwide, including the Schnitzer Care Foundation, which carries on the legacy of his late parents and has given over $300 million to nonprofits and community programs.
We have some giant explosive pieces.
And through the Jordan Schnitzer Family Foundation, he shares his art collection with millions, partnering with more than 130 museums to present over 180 exhibitions.
I think you see someone who has an energy level and that basically is unique, and also a passion that is so driven, and it's driven by the heart, and that heart sits in the right place.
In the arts, whatever one experiences, seeing art, seeing a ballet, listening to music, whatever they feel is the sum of all that they've ever been. And no one can tell anyone that what they're experiencing or feeling is wrong. It's right for them. Takes my breath away every time I look at his work.
And when it comes to the power of feeling,
he uses these big frames to make you think about the glorious work in the...
Jordan believes generosity leads to a life well lived.
When you do things for others, you feel good about yourself. It actually is the most self-indulgent thing you can do to make yourself feel good about yourself. Do something for someone else. Do our best.
A life of business.
A lot of good institutions.
Passion for art.
This is Thurman Statham.
And a shared sense of community.
Glass artist. Wonderful man.
Straight ahead, a running goal to keep Central Oregon special.
Black Butte is a beautiful place, and we really didn't want to screw it up.
How what started as a lumber company in Bend led to a transformation when KGW's History Maker Special continues right after this. Welcome back. Our final honorees this year, a Central Oregon couple who have worked to transform not only their immediate community, but the broader region in nearly countless ways. Tim Gordon has their story.
We're very lucky to be here.
For 60 years, Mike and Sue Hollern have called this 100-year-old house their home in a Bend neighborhood along Mirror Pond, part of the Deschutes River. They moved here all those years ago on a deal that Mike suggested to Sue to give it a try.
She agreed. Let's give it a shot for 2 years. If either one of us wants to leave, we're out of here. Fair enough. And the subject really never came up again.
Because we absolutely love Bend. We love our home. We love our friends. I feel like we're very welcoming people.
Back then, Bend's population was around 10,000 people. Logging and lumber mills still ruled the landscape after flourishing in the early 1900s. Mike's family connection to the Brooks Scanlon Lumber Company provided him a place to put his MBA from Stanford University to work.
I mean, this was a timber town and a sawmill town and loggers, and that's what was going on in Bend. But there was a culture in the company that really encouraged employees to give back to the community.
As president of Brooks Scanlon, Mike figured out the timber industry would eventually fade as the economic mainstay, but there were other big opportunities. He started an offshoot, Brooks Resources Corporation. From that came a lot of development with the goal to keep Central Oregon special and unique.
Black Butte is a beautiful place, and we really didn't want to screw it up.
Black Butte Ranch near Sisters is a prime example. A former cattle ranch turned into a cherished spot for vacation homes and outdoor activities. With stunning views all around, its beauty endures. To this day, Brooks Resources has been busy on many fronts, growing Central Oregon.
Oh, well, it's pretty long. I mean, there's Black Butte Ranch and Tollgate and Crossroads and Sisters, the West Hills and Aubrey Butte. Northwest Crossing is in Bend, as is Discovery West, the project we are working on now.
Bend is now a city of more than 100,000 people, a vibrant place that has drawn in a variety of businesses, from craft brewing to high tech. Mike says it's about attracting younger generations to work and live in neighborhoods like Northwest Crossing, where different housing options blend in with shops and restaurants.
The employers will tend to follow because they're looking for bright young employees. And I think Bend is in many ways a poster child for a creative class community.
And speaking of creativity, the Hollerns bring that in a variety of ways. Mike got Bend's now famous roundabouts going after the couple saw them work so well in Europe.
He brought the idea home and worked so hard to get the first one. Oh my God, it took forever.
It started with one, and now there are more than 50 of them, helping Bend's drivers navigate what can be heavy traffic. The roundabouts are also a great spot for public art, something Sue Hollern has championed in the roundabouts and elsewhere in the city through the nonprofit Art in Public Places organization, which Sue and other volunteers started more than 50 years ago.
Great taste, largely ladies.
All ladies.
At one point you had at least one male in there.
We didn't last.
We're all for women, we're women, that's fine.
These two are quite a pair. And beyond the arts, they've had their hands in so many efforts to better their community and the lives of those who live here.
She has been an absolutely wonderful partner in many, many ways.
I think the absolute world of him, and I admire his vision and his honesty and his patience.
From helping kids succeed in school, to volunteering with the juvenile justice system, to supporting the High Desert Museum, and helping make the Tower Theater the center of music and performing arts, just to name a few. Mike also led the site planning committee for a major expansion of Oregon State University's Cascade campus. It landed on Bend's west side, now clearing land to create a new 4-year university in Central Oregon integrated into the city. Through it all, this couple never sought the spotlight.
Always happy to hold hands with you.
Oh, thank you.
But they found the light in each other, living in a place they love. Community builders, Oregon history makers, Mike and Sue Hollern.
Yeah.
Well deserved. Once again, our congratulations to all the 2025 Oregon history makers, and our thanks to the team at the Oregon Historical Society for their ongoing partnership here. By the way, if you missed any of the profiles, you can watch them anytime on our KGW YouTube page or on our free TV app, KGW Plus. On behalf of all of us at KGW, I'm David Molko, reminding you that if past is prologue, to quote Shakespeare there for a moment, then perhaps history is unfolding as we speak. Thanks for watching.